What's up, everyone? Kyle here. I am super excited to let you all know that my first published book is out now. It's called Travel Tips, a 20-something's comprehensive guide for traveling in the modern world. It's available on doranceBookstore.com, I believe is the website. It's going to be available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble on their online websites soon as well. And you can also get a copy directly from me. You can just email me at ourtravelexperiences@outlook.com, and we can talk about a book, and I'll get a signed copy to you. I'm super excited to share it with you all. This was a dream come true for me, a bucket list item in the making, and I'm super excited to share it all with you now. So go check it out, everyone. There will be a link in the description below, and enjoy the episode. Welcome, everyone, to this edition of Our Travel Experiences. I'm your host, Kyle Rasmussen. Today is episode 65. Really excited to be up to episode 65 now. It just amazes me every time that I've stuck with this for this long, and it's still going. So pretty exciting, and I thank you all for listening to this point. So as some of you might know, or if you're new as well, every fifth episode will share one of my own personal stories of traveling, just to kind of mix it up a little bit and get some of my travels in there as well, which is always fun. These these episodes where it's just me talking are a lot more work, actually, which is kind of funny. But anyways, so I was trying to think about which one I should do, which travel experience would make the most sense for right now. And I decided, why don't I just do one that I did earlier this year. I went to the Olympic Peninsula for my 27th birthday. So that was a lot of fun and a really kind of needed trip, I think. So let's jump into it here. So my birthday is in January, late January, which is a tough time for some travel in some parts of the country, especially when it's it's cold out and snow and everything. But I really wanted to do something. I couldn't do really anything big with my schedule. I couldn't fly to a faraway destination or anything like that. But I was like, you know what? I've never been to the Olympic Peninsula before. Other than like ocean shores, which really isn't part of the Olympic Peninsula. And I just wanted to kind of do something by myself, kind of get away a little bit, just have it be me and be reflective and just kind of explore on my own. And so I thought, why don't I go out to the Olympic Peninsula? So I started off the trip. I got up really early on my birthday. I want to say it was like 3:30 or 4 o'clock that I got up in the morning, and I got ready to go, and I drove out to Olympia. So it's about 2.5 hours away from where I live. Drove over to Olympia. And I got there, not sure exactly which time, but early in the morning. The Capitol had just opened, actually. I wanted to stop there first because I've never actually been to a lot of state capitals, but I've never been to my own state capital. So I got to go there. Really cool. Definitely one of the nicer state capitals that I've been to. I've been to a lot of them now at this point, probably somewhere in the 30s or 40s. Anyways, I got to go there, explore the capital. Got to meet this really nice man who was one of the like security guards / ushers, and he was a wealth of knowledge. He knew all about the different senators and different people in charge, and how it's changed over the years, and what was going on in the Capitol and all of that. Really fun to talk with him, and got some great pictures there as well. And that was a nice little stop there. And then I went to a little stop to buy myself a little birthday present. I went to Barnes & Noble, excited to use the bathroom too, and just kind of refresh, get some coffee as well, because it had already been 3 or 4 hours at that point that I was into my day. And so I went to Barnes & Noble, not too far away from the Capitol, bought a couple books, got some coffee, and then I headed out on the road again. I went up the Olympic Peninsula on the peninsula side of the Sound and of Puget Sound, and I went up. The road goes right along the water. It was cloudy at first, but then the sun actually came out, which is a rarity, and it was really, really beautiful along the water there. It was a great drive, and I drove all the way around. Got a quick lunch in Sequim, Washington, which is towards the top of the peninsula there. And then I continued on to Port Angeles, where I went to the ranger station for the Olympic National Park that is there in Port Angeles, and talked with the park ranger. She was super helpful, gave me a map and instructions and good places to go this time of year. So January, you can't get to the high elevations because of the snow, but there's a lot of other hikes in there as well. So I ended up, I took her advice and went to around Lake Crescent, which is like 20-ish minutes west of Port Angeles, so not too far away. And I went out there, got some really good pictures of the lake, and then there's a place where you can park, and there's some trails in there in by Lake Crescent. And so I like hiking, and for my birthday, I like doing hikes on my birthday and just being in nature. So it actually worked out really well. I did this one hike that was recommended to me by the ranger to go to Merrimer Falls, which is a short, really flat hike, really accessible for anyone who's looking to do that. It's pretty easy to do and flat for the most part. And so I went out there. I think it was about, I think if you did round trip, it was probably about a mile or so, maybe a little bit more. I'm not really sure. Right around a mile though. Wasn't too bad. But yeah, I went out there. The falls were roaring, and I got some really good pictures there. And yeah, just kind of walked around that area a little bit. And that wasn't really enough hiking for me. So early on in the hike, there was a turnoff to go up one of the hills and do a different hike. And so on my way back, I decided, all right, I'm gonna do this one, which that one was a good workout. It was the Mount Storm King hike, and I think round trip it's about 3 miles or so, maybe more. It was either like 2.5 miles one way or like 5 miles in total. I'm not really sure. This one was much harder though. It was about, no, it must have been 5 miles in round trip because it was 2 miles up there. Yeah. That's right. Gosh, it's already been a little while 2 months since I did that. But anyways, so it's about 2 miles from where the turnoff is up to the Mount Storm King area where you can look out, and you gain about 2,000 feet of elevation in that 2 miles, which is a lot in a short amount of time. So you're hiking straight up. The switchbacks were steep. Even with the long switchbacks that were steep, it was a lot. And then you get up closer to the top, about the last like third to a quarter of, probably a quarter to a third of a mile left. And there's some ropes that are tied to trees, and you have to use those ropes to pull yourself up and help yourself get back down to get up to the ledge where you can look out. And so it's not really for the faint of heart. If you're not a really experienced hiker, I don't recommend it. Or if you get a little woozy on some maybe not the safest hike in the world, I don't recommend that one either. But you do the ropes, and then you get up to a little area where it's a little bit flatter, and you kind of go a little ways, and then you turn back and you get out to the ledge, which is also very narrow and rocky. And honestly, I bear crawled the last probably like 100 feet or so on the ledge, just because it was so narrow and kind of steep, and it was just easier to bear crawl it. But you do get out to the ledge, and it just happened to be, gosh, like the perfect timing, perfect weather to be up there. Um, it wasn't raining. It was cloudy, a little cloudy, but the sun was setting behind the mountains there in Olympic National Park, and the sun, like the little bit of light that was still there, was shining off the lake, and it was just beautiful. I was in awe of the view that I was seeing, and you can see out to the water. Couldn't quite see all the way to Canada, but yeah, it was really, really pretty. You can see those pictures on my Instagram too. But definitely a hard hike. It was well worth it. Really enjoyed it. That was such a great way to spend my birthday afternoon. So then I came back down. Started getting dark by the time I got back to my car. But then I went back into Port Angeles, where I spent the night, and really didn't do too much. I was pretty tired, to be honest, because I'd gotten up so early in the morning and done the hike and everything. And so I just went to a little spot where I could get froyo there in town. Port Angeles is pretty small. We got a little small downtown, but it was really nice, really pretty. So I got some froyo, and then I went to one of the bars there and had a couple drinks, and then just went to bed. But yeah, that was the first night. So that was my actual birthday. And then the next day, I drove out of Port Angeles, and I went west along the top of the peninsula, all the way over to Cape Flattery, which is the northwesternmost point of mainland America. There's a little sign there that commemorates that. But yeah, I went out there, and there's a short little hike to, I think it's maybe like half a mile or so, down to the end of the land. And got some really great pictures out there. It was a little stormy weather. It was cold. It was rainy, but so pretty with all the trees and the lush green. And the water was right there, and crashing against the rocks. And it was really pretty. It was well worth the drive out there. I think it was about 2.5 hours or so from Port Angeles. So it's a little bit of a drive out there, but yeah, well worth it for sure. So then from there I went back towards the east, and then you can turn south at some point before you get back to Port Angeles, and go or go south down to La Push and Forks. And so I went, took the turn off to La Push, and then you can go out to, it was Rialto Beach that I went to. So that was really pretty too. Again, good timing. The sun was starting to set as I was getting there. So I walked along the beach. It's pretty rocky. There's some driftwood there and everything, but really, really pretty. You can walk for a long ways along the beach. And I feel like I got some great pictures there as well. So I really enjoyed that. And that is considered part of the Olympic National Park. So that's kind of cool. You get the mountains and the beach at Olympic National Park, which I would say I've now been to 21 national parks, I believe. And I would definitely put this one towards the top. I'll have to do a national park rankings one of these days. That would be fun. But I would definitely put this one towards the top for sure. So I got some good pictures there. And then I went into Forks, where I had a really good dinner. Gosh, I can't remember the place. Let me look up the place first. Blakesley's Bar and Grill. Had a burger there. It was an elk burger, I believe, which elk meat is awesome. And so I had dinner there and spent the night in Forks. And then the next morning, got up. Went just to see Forks High School and everything. I read Twilight back in the day and saw. I don't think I saw the movies, but I saw at least the first one. and that's where it takes place and everything. So go ahead and check that out really quick. There's really not a ton there in Forks, but nice little stop. And then from there went continued south along the western part of the peninsula and went to the Hoh Rainforest. So you turn off and go back into the mountains on the peninsula, and you can go into the Hoh Rainforest there. I believe it's the wettest place in America or something like that. It gets the most rainfall or something to that effect. And you can see everything there is green. There's moss everywhere. There's lichen everywhere. It's very green, very dense forest there. Very quiet as well. It was nice, considering that this whole trip was meant to be meditative and reflective. I really enjoyed being there in the Hoh Rainforest, and I got some great pictures as well there. And really enjoyed it. I definitely go back in the Hoh Rainforest when you can do more of the hikes. Being in the wintertime, like I said, a lot of stuff was closed. You couldn't get to higher elevations. So I would definitely go back in the summertime or the fall and experience more of the park as well. So then from there, went back out to the main road and then continued south from there. And I went to Ruby Beach, which is on Highway 101. It's still considered part of you kind of go in and out of the park as you're driving around around the peninsula there, but Ruby Beach is part of the Olympic National Park as well. And the sun decided to come out about the time that I got there, so I got to see see the beach while the sun's shining, and there's some cool rocks that are jutting out of the beach as well. Driftwood and everything there. And it was really, really pretty. And then I continued down further south to what is it called? It's there's the Kalaloch Beach. I believe it's beach number 2 that has the Tree of Life. Anyways, I continued down to the Tree of Life, which is this tree that basically the soil that was underneath it eroded away. So it's barely kind of hanging on to the parts that didn't erode away around it. And even though a lot of the roots don't have any sort of soil to get nutrients from, it's still surviving and still thriving. And that's pretty cool to see. Good metaphor for life there. But that was pretty cool. And then from there, I went back and went south, continued south, where the 101 meets up with Aberdeen, Hoquiam and Aberdeen. And then from there, I turned east and went along Highway 12 all the way back through Mossy Rock, through Morton, back to Packwood, and back into Yakima. So that was the trip. It was a ton of fun. I got to spend a lot of time with myself on this trip. Really got to just be alone with my thoughts and be reflective and not have to talk to anyone, and just kind of reflect on the last year, think ahead to what I wanted to accomplish this next year. So 2023, and really just kind of reset the mind, which was awesome. This is the perfect place to do it. If you're looking to get away, there's not a lot of people out there on the peninsula. You can feel like your own world with the rain and the fog. You can feel like you're totally alone out there. You got the rainforest, which is silent, and it's just it's a place I would recommend everyone going for sure. It is a lot of driving, even if you are in the Seattle area. So you fly into Seattle or you already live in Seattle, you're still going to have to plan on driving a lot if you want to drive through everything. just to get, from Olympia up to Port Angeles is 2.5 to 3 hours. Port Angeles out to Cape Flattery is 2.5 to 3 hours. Cape Flattery down to Forks is, I think close to 2 hours. Forks down to the Hoh Rainforest is another 45 minutes to an hour. The Hoh Rainforest to Ruby Beach is 30 to 40 minutes. Ruby Beach down to Aberdeen is a couple hours at least. Probably at least 2 hours. Aberdeen back to Olympia is another 1 to 2 hours, and then Olympia back to Seattle. To the Seattle area is another 1 to 2 hours at least. So you're looking at a lot of driving. I would definitely plan for multiple days. I spent a total of 3 days, which was a good amount of time to do all that I wanted to do. But I would say if I had more ability to hike more into the park, if there wasn't the snowpack there in the higher elevations, and I decided to do more of those hikes into the middle of the park, definitely would need an extra day or two for sure. But I really enjoyed that you could go around the entire peninsula and see something different. You could get the mountains right there. You could go into the smaller cities, get a little bit of the city feel. You could, go out to the Cape Flattery and be at the end of the world. You could get the rainforest. You could get the mountains. You could get the snow. You could get the beach. You could get sun. You could get rain. You could get it all. There's a lot out there to see and do. So well worth the trip. For sure. So that was it. That was a shorter episode. This can be one of the shortest episodes for sure. I'll just add again, thank you for listening to all these episodes. If you have been following along over the last year and a half, almost year and a half, and if you're new, welcome. I appreciate your support. If you haven't checked out my other content, my book is out now, which is really exciting. We're seeing good success there, and working on other ones. So stay tuned for more in the future. We got the blog, I got the website, YouTube, Instagram. You can find all of that stuff. It's all either Our Travel EXP or Our Travel Experiences Podcast. And my link tree is linktree/Our Travel EXP as well. Everything is on there also. And then also got the newsletter, which is a weekly newsletter that has different deals in it, has just travel thoughts or thoughts in general by myself. It has ideas for trips that you could take. It has tips for when you are traveling to make your travel experiences better, and it has different travel pictures and things like that. So I don't know. It's fun. It's cool to see. Hopefully, my goal with all of this is to inspire people to travel, to see the world, to connect with others around the world too, in whatever way, shape, or form they do that. Whether it is through the writing, whether it is through taking the trip themselves, through listening to people's experiences, to looking at the pictures, and anything in between. So it's been a fun journey so far, and hopefully we'll get another 65 episodes in. That would be amazing. But we're going to keep doing this for as long as I can, and hopefully it continues to build. It has been building a lot lately, and really excited for that. So reach out to me if you want to connect, if you want to be a guest on the podcast. I'd love to have you. And I guess that's it, guys. So episode 65 done, and we'll see y'all next week for episode 66. Thanks again, everyone, and keep traveling. I'll see you somewhere around the world soon. Hey everybody, Kyle here. If you enjoyed today's show and want more, you can always check out every episode on Spotify, Anchor, YouTube, and now Amazon Music as well. Just search for Our Travel Experiences on any of those platforms and it will pop up. You can also find everything all in one place on my website, ourtravelexp.com. And if you want to see my travel pictures as well as travel pictures from guests on the show, you can check them out on Instagram. The page is called Our Travel Experiences Podcast. And if you want to share your own pictures on the Instagram page or be a guest on the podcast, you can message me via that Instagram page or email me at ourtravelexperiences@outlook.com. I would love to see your pictures and hear about your travel experiences, so please send them my way. And if that isn't enough for you, make sure to check out my weekly YouTube show, From Around the World Fridays. Every Friday, I'm taking 5 to 10 minutes to answer questions from listeners, share some souvenirs that I bought over the years, share my postcards over the years that I've accumulated, or share videos and pictures from one particular city or country that I visited, and so much more. So check it out, guys. You won't be disappointed. And make sure you go subscribe to that as well. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you somewhere around the world soon.